All right, today we're going to talk about using the transparency panel in Illustrator. The transparency panel is over here on the right. I always change my my workspace to Essentials Classic or reset Essentials Classic, especially if you're missing your tools or something went away. You know, it happens. Just go to reset Essentials Classic and you should be good. All right, I don't need this right now, so I have a lot amount of room. All right, so what I'm doing here is I'm changing the appearance of the fill. All right, every object has a fill, and I'm changing the opacity of this fill right now is 100% red. Opacity relates to the word opaque. If something is opaque, you cannot see through it. If something is transparent, it is completely see-through, and it has an opacity of 0. Does that make sense? Opacity of 50%. All right, it's kind of obscured or whatever. That's how transparency works, just working with the opacity straight up. And you can get a really cool effects. You can do shadowing. I like to sometimes do a shadow of an object, and I will use transform maybe and skew it down. Maybe I'll set it to black, and it has a cool shadow effect that I can put underneath an object. All right, I'd probably put this in front and make sure that this was opaque. Now it looks like you've got a shadow going on. All right, there's also, if you ever have a panel and you see these 4 lines, that means that we've got other options. Watch this. Show options. All right, you've got other things that you can do. You can work with opacity and masking to find knockout shapes. I'm not going to use any of these things just yet, but I do want to show you about the layer blending modes. This is a different way to change the way that this object filters the colors that it has to the other objects below. So darken, it doesn't change the intensity of the color. All it does is change the way that it reacts to other colors. So if it's reacting to cool colors, it turns them gray. Reacting to warm colors, it turns them the same colors as red. Now if I go to multiply, it has a different effect, or color burn, or color or lighten. Oops, I was just doing it for that one. I wanted to do this one. Multiply. Lighten. Lighten has a different effect when it is reacting to black. Color dodge. Overlay. Difference has a really neat effect sometimes that it will kind of do the opposite color of what it's filtering through. And hue and saturation. Play around with these things and see how they behave. I've done it in my own design here. All right, so what I did was I had one of them. I can take a look at the transparency. It's set to 100%, but it's set to overlay. So this overlaying with that other one, which overlays with the background, kind of has a cool effect with the gradient below it. This is also set to overlay. So I had 2 overlaid shapes that are kind of making this interesting design here. I'm going to save this real quick. And I have a couple of ideas down below that I was working with as well, changing the different colors and how they affect it. I also made a copy of this entire thing, and I'll show you how I do that in a second. All right, I'm going to ungroup this. All right, so what I did is to make this shadow down below, I just took this and united the whole thing. I went to Pathfinder. All right, that's down here, and united everything together. So now it's all one thing, one color. If I looked at it, it's white. It's all one piece. Then I moved it down, or I had made the copy of it. Then I moved it down, and I just used E, or the transform tool. All right, I can do perspective. All right, and kind of move these nodes out. And then I changed it to black and set its transparency to maybe like 50%. All right, that's how I made that shadow. Transparency is easy to use. Play around with it, understand it. It does a lot of really fun effects.